Hello and welcome to Bottom Line. I'm Cindy Kainz. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about amazing nonprofit Habitat for Humanity. And we have our guest for today's show. She's the Executive Director and CEO of the Habitat for Humanity, Michele Hodges. Michele, welcome to the show.
Hello, Cindy. It's so good to be here. Thank you for your interest in our work.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and people may be familiar with it. They may know the name, or they may say it sounds familiar, but hopefully today after the show, they'll understand and know if there's something, a role for them to do as a volunteer or donate. But let's talk first about if you can explain what's the history of how Habitat for Humanity was started.
Well, Habitat has such a rich history, and that's the beauty of it. Most everyone smiles when they hear the words Habitat for Humanity because of the impact it has had over the last 50 years. In fact, Habitat International is celebrating exactly that in 2026 through the Open the Door campaign. Habitat Oakland, and I should say there are more than 1,000 affiliates throughout the country, we being one of them. Ours happened to have started in 1995. So we're proud of that history and the 30 years that we've been engaged. We go back to Millard Filler and Clarence Jordan out of Koinonia Farms and really wanting to engage in partnership housing. And then certainly you can't ignore the impact that Jimmy and Rosalind Carter have had. In fact, I think at one point it was said that Habitat rains joy on communities. So we pride ourselves on being a hand up, not a handout. We think that's important for long-term success. And therefore, everyone deserves a decent and affordable place to live. That's what Habitat's all about.
And that's amazing because I think one of the, the I don't know, motto and the things is kind of build hope through, with Habitat and a home for, and everybody deserves, a home in that. So if we talk about what would be the vision, if someone says, what's the vision, Michele, of Habitat for Humanity? What do we see as that?
Well, we build homes, community, and hope. And all of those three things are important because if you don't have the connective tissue that connects a community, you don't have a stable community. So that's what we strive for. And we do it in the whole notion of a beloved community where all are welcome and all have access to opportunity and can grow and thrive because of that ecosystem that you've formed. And we have the good fortune of having great leadership. Our board chair, Kano Phillips with the Ascend Foundation, really is a wonderful partner in making sure that we fulfill that vision and that mission. And we do it in multiple ways. We do often have to create the notion that homes are given to people. They are not. We certainly have criteria, in terms of the area median income and other criteria that are necessary, but you are expected to purchase your home with our support. So whether that's through down payment assistance or the like, we help make that very affordable for you. And you're also expected to dedicate some sweat equity to it. So that's when we really become a team, is when we're working together to build the homes. And it's not only homes, it's also critical home repair and neighborhood revitalization that takes shape in a number of ways.
Wow. And that's amazing when you said that it's not just giving someone a home. They're actually participating, maybe financial, but actually, and also, kind of paying it forward too for the next person that might need it. And now when you mentioned about, let's start maybe with critical home repairs. What if there is someone watching and they say, gosh, I really could use some help with getting some repairs done. They don't know how to do it or not able to. How does Habitat help them?
Well, we would be absolutely delighted to be able to assist them. I encourage them to go to our website and get engaged in the intake process. You're required to fill out a form, and then our team will get back to you to advise you on the next steps. So, and there are requirements for that. But nonetheless, if you're in need, we want to help you, and please come to us.
Now, when you say if someone is watching thinking home repairs, what kind of things could you help with? I think people, maybe know like maybe a roof, or if they need a ramp for someone who might be handicapped.
Yep, it's a whole myriad of things, and it depends on the available funding at the moment and what the criteria that might be attached to that funding. But basically, anything that protects the homeowner from any health and safety issue, from any need that keeps that housing stable and safe. So yes, you're right. Roofs, and again, depending on the scope and depending on the funding source, but HVAC equipment, thresholds, safe access to bathtubs, front doors, back doors. doors, ramps, roofs, ramps repairs. I already said we have a program called Roofs, Ramps, Repairs. So that's why I'm repeating roof again. But yes, there's a whole myriad of things that you can tap into, and energy efficient needs as well. We have a great partnership with consumers where they come in and help us ensure that our families have energy efficient homes to control their costs over the long term.
And you know what's wonderful is Habitat for Humanity is thinking about all these things, especially energy efficient. Sometimes many people say, oh, well, but it can actually save money, being certain appliances, certain things that you do to protect your home, to, use less heat or use less air conditioning. My understanding, too, is sometimes someone could have maybe like a free home assessment to see what kind of needs they might have.
Yes, that can occur too. So, and we also often have to correct the notion about quality. We don't cut corners with Habitat homes in order to save money. We meet or exceed all standards, including energy efficiency, and in many ways exceed those standards in great stride. So we're proud of that. We think that's important because we also want to be good partners to the communities that we work within. So all of our homes are sold at market rate so as not to impact values. And all of them are built to that standard so that we're not a detriment to a neighborhood. We're an enhancement.
That's just amazing to think about that and the talent that you would have with everybody who's working there to put this together. If someone's watching, we think Habitat for Humanity, of course, everything to do with someone with a home, helping them get a home and build a home. How does that start? How do you do the process of finding a location to build the home, obtain land, and then actually start building? And
there's so many factors that go into it, right? Somebody might donate a piece of land. We might work through the local land bank. We might acquire the property on our own using resources because it's in a priority area. So there are many factors that go into that decision and how we actually enhance our portfolio of land that we own. So it's difficult to give a succinct, precise answer, but the communities that we're working most directly with, Pontiac is a really important partner to us. There's so much need there, and we get to walk in solidarity with our community, and it's really Pontiac's moment. It's all hands on deck right now, and I think the future is very bright. So it's a good place to be, and such a strong community network as well. Southfield is another community that we work with, Hazel Park, Oak Park. So we love our community partners. We're dipping into Farmington Hills now and the like. So Royal Oak as well, Madison Heights. See, the list goes on. I guess I shouldn't have started to try to list them, but it just depends on the dynamics of that community and what the available assets are. So there's not a precise science to it, more of a working with the opportunities so that are available at the time so that they can be fully leveraged.
It makes me think, because all these wonderful cities and being partners with them, because, you're helping build the community. So of course, all these cities, is great that everybody wants to partner up with Habitat for Humanity. Now, I understand there's something called Rock the Block. I'm curious what the Rock the Block is.
Well, as part of our community stabilization efforts, we do a lot in the communities, and our cornerstone of that is our Rock the Block program. So we enter into 4 to 5 communities throughout the year, and we have a 1 to 2 day extravaganza, maybe is the best way to sum it up, where all of our community partners assemble, the corporate community, the governing bodies that we're associated with, our funders, our donors, our homeowners, and we focus on doing exterior repairs for homeowners in need of such things. And we do it in a way that is completely about team building and really creates a lot of momentum so that we're better equipped to fulfill our other goals as well. We have a really special one that will be in year 2 of in Pontiac this year in July, along with the Elam family on Sanford Street. And just creating that momentum is necessary to assemble the property that's necessary to develop a housing project there, but doing it in very close partnership with the community. We always want to be exactly that, in partnership, not expecting that we know best, but working collaboratively together. And Rock the Block's a really important part of that. If you want to get a taste of Habitat, that's where you should look. You see the momentum, you see the joy, you see the energy that is created when we work together as a community to ensure that generational wealth continues on, to ensure that the social determinants of health are met. I firmly believe that housing is the domino. If you have stable housing, you're better educated, you're healthier. There's all sorts of things that you can point your finger to as successes if you have that stable housing. And Rock the Block helps to create that energy and momentum and that community infrastructure that you need to be successful.
Well, and just the name alone makes me smile. Rock the Block. You can just picture something in your head, the community coming together and working together, because everybody has an expertise or an area that maybe they can help in. But as as one person, you can only do so much. But as a community, you can do wonderful things.
Well, and if you like Rock the Block, then you might like my idea to do a door jam. Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, there you go. So you got to have these creative names, that help support what you're really trying to do.
Well, last year we served, I believe 75 families as part of our Rock the Block effort. So that's meaningful, and more than 100 critical home repairs too. So.
The one thing I want to mention too is my understanding is, one of the first ladies who received a home, it was when you said it, it starts with a home and then helps with that family, and maybe then they can thrive, once they get that start. And I think one of the first people that received a home for Habitat Humanity was able then to send her 3 children to college, is my understanding. Is that, I mean, those are the kind of stories that, really they just needed a little help. And now look at how she was able to help her children get to college and go on and be successful and so forth.
Yes, we saluted Barbara at our gala this year because she paid off her mortgage, and she told her story, and it was such an incredible story. You're exactly right. She had 3 children. They were all then college educated. And one of the most meaningful moments, she was so full of joy and gratitude because of this partnership. And we had given her at closing a little quartz rock type heart. And it was the size of her palm. And when we went out to talk to her, she'd had it clasped in her hand and opened it up and showed us this heart 20 years later. So it does touch the heart, and it does make the heart beat stronger when you have this kind of support system in place in the community. So yes, we celebrate Barbara and all of our homeowners who pay off their mortgages and now have something special to give those children, whether it's in the form of education. In fact, there's a stat out there. I don't know the precise proportion, but a very low percentage of our incoming homeowners are college educated. It's less than 10%, I believe. And the children of those homeowners, that ratio completely flips, where closer to 90% of them are college educated. So really, that's the only data point you need to hear. And if you truly want impact, if you want to put your time or your resources somewhere that matters, that's the long game. That's the true investment. Get on board with that.
And just think, we take that for granted ourselves sometimes, that you walk in the door and you're tired and you sit down on the couch and you have a home to go. You have a couch to sit on. You have that luxury of a house, which, we take advantage, we don't realize what that really means for a lot of those folks that don't. So we can reach, the handout, help build a home, not just a house too, you're building homes, and it's amazing the type of the work to do that. And if someone's watching and they say they could really use your help, how does somebody, submit to try to receive a home? And I know you said there are some, guidelines and requirements, but are there some requirements that somebody might need to get on the list to receive a home or to participate in building a home for Habitat for Humanity?
Yes, we ask that they go to our website. That's the best place to start. All of the information is there, and there's an intake opportunity. You can certainly call Habitat Oakland as well if that's easier for you. But we have a program called Habitat University, where we put you on the journey to home ownership, and we assess where you are at on that journey, and then we provide you the resources necessary to get you there. So maybe it is energy efficient approaches to controlling your costs, or maybe it is, we do have a savings program as well. So we encourage behaviors like that and incentives like that really get you on that track. So whether or not you ultimately become a Habitat homeowner, you're better off because you've learned these skills. And then depending on where that assessment puts you, we determine if you're ready for home ownership. So, and then, what our inventory is at that time to be able to meet that expectation of that individual. So we usually don't have trouble finding people that are in a position to be able to consider homeownership. So please join us in that journey.
Yeah. So a question comes to mind when you mention that, and that's wonderful that I was going to ask you too about Habitat University to kind of help prep the individuals for when it is time to maybe get a home or help them with what their needs are. Does Habitat for Humanity build homes as they're needed, or are they kind of building them as they go along and then, of course, matching the right person to that home as well?
Yes, it's all about resources, right? We build as many homes as we have resources for, because there will always be a demand for them. So, and then we match people to those homes. So we're in the process of doing that right now. As a matter of fact, we have a home whose grant obligations require that we close it out by April. So we're feverishly working to get those walls up and that drywall in and the front door on, and all of those important things, and also identifying a homeowner for that. We think we're close. So it's exciting. And you mentioned, Cindy, about being appreciative of having that couch to sit on when you get home. Yeah. We closed on a home in December with a lovely woman, Zara, who is starting completely fresh with her 3 children, and they don't have furniture. And they've been without furniture from the time of closing until now. We have Humble Design going in. They're one of our wonderful partners who are going to help outfit her home, but they've been living without, and she's does it with a joyful spirit because she's so thrilled with this opportunity to start again and have her own home. But they're living in a home with no furniture for only a short time to go, which is great. But nonetheless, that's the journey we're on with people, which is pretty honorable to be, or special to be part of.
Right. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's something I did want to talk about and address. That I know you have a Restore location store where people can donate. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about can people and donate what that, now I know I personally have done that. So, but you can donate. What would be some things that Habitat for Humanity would accept or want to help individuals that might need, furniture or things for their home?
Yes, our restores are very important part of the fulfillment of our mission. They're retail outlets. We have 2 of them in Oakland County, one in Waterford, one in Southfield. We accept donated home goods that meet certain criteria, and then we sell them to support where the revenue supports the mission. In fact, in 2025, that resulted in $2 million worth of revenue, which is critically important to the operation of Habitat Oakland and ensuring people are in safe and affordable housing. So we will take a myriad of things, whether it's leftover building materials, or you're tearing down a building and there's things in there that are salvageable, or you're doing a remodel in your home, or you're just cleaning out your home, or you're moving. We like to work closely with realtors and contractors and property managers, because they're often in contact with people that have a lot of great stuff that they don't necessarily want to move to their next home, but it's still not worthy of the recycle pile or the trash pile, right? So get it to Habitat, and we'll even come pick it all up. So it's just, and give you a write-off letter. So it's this perfect marriage of making sure we don't fill our landfills while at the same time supporting this really important mission. And it's fun, even just to go shop there. If you donate, shop, it's a community space. People love to come there and just enjoy each other. It's got a great vibe, and you never know what you're going to find. It could be something from some historic home that was being torn down, or maybe just that table that no longer fit in somebody's house and the new one they're moving to, or maybe you got a college kid that needs some stuff, or maybe your college kid is moving out and you don't know what to do with that stuff. Well, don't throw it away. Donate it to Habitat, and know that those proceeds are fueling this really important mission.
And that, I think that's what's really key, and can make the person who's donating feel good, because they know it's not going into a landfill, and it's not, and it can go to somebody. If it's in a shape that, can still be used, by all means, try to donate. And I think what you said, it's so easy. You give them a call and you say, these are the things I have. They come pick them up. And like you said, even if they want to help, with the donation, sheets left, it makes it easy, but it's best to know that you're really, helping to build these homes by what you're maybe donating, and then they can get, sold. And at the same time,
You can call Habitat or you can call the moving company. You pay the moving company. You don't pay Habitat.
See, there you go. Another great reason too. So, Michelle, a couple of things I wanted to mention too is, and I want to come back to people donating even their time, but there is also a veteran initiative, my understanding is as well for this.
Yes, again, that's always funding dependent too. But yes, veterans are a really important part of the families that we help to support and serve. So they all have all the same requirements, right, on income and the like. Again, depending on what the funding source is. But yes, we value our veterans very much and do whatever we can to get them the resources that need, whether it's through critical home repair or home ownership.
And another one that has come up that I wanted to ask about was also the women build that goes on for Habitat for Humanity. Can you mention what that is all about?
Yes, our Women Build program, they're wonderful. They've been in place, I believe, since 2014. They've raised more than $1.2 million over the years. They like to build a home a year. They're amazing. And it's for anybody, all skill levels. In fact, one of our founders, Jonna Struck, she's amazing. She tells the story when she first got engaged and she prayed for rain on the first day they were supposed to go out on a build site because she had no idea how to throw a hammer. And then once she got there and she saw how outstanding our core volunteers were, and that it didn't matter what your skill level was, you just immediately cannot resist the opportunity to be engaged. And she's been with us for many, many years now. So I love telling that story. And it's such a great way they've all become such a tight-knit group. You know, they grow to love and adore each other and really enjoy being on the build sites and raising money. They're some of our most passionate supporters, and we're working to reframe it going forward. In fact, I think we're going to, little heads up here, sneak peek, have a rage room event, because sometimes we get materials donated that we can't use and they're not suited for anything else. So we're like, okay, we'll let people come in and smash and, trash this stuff and have some fun while we're raising money for Habitat and building that team that we want to see.
And honestly, I think that would be a fun thing to do in a safe environment, where you can get out some of that rage or stress, But I think what you mentioned too is, the women build, or any time when I think people come together and they're for a common purpose and they're there, it's hot or cold, whatever, they're out, working together and they're working as a team. You build that camaraderie that you can't always have in other things. And especially when you have such a great purpose of what you're doing. And so if somebody is watching and they may not think, hey, I think I can maybe hit a nail with a hammer, but I don't know about a Phillips from, this kind of, screwdriver or flathead. So what happens if somebody's watching, they want to help, but they don't really know how to build a house?
They need to come in and they can meet Jack Yee and the rest of our group, who absolutely love working our volunteers, no matter how nascent they might be in their Habitat career. And trust me, there's a job for everybody. I'm a good example of that. And if throwing hammers isn't your forte, or putting up a piece of wood or running a saw, you pick up some really good skills. We also need volunteers that are restores, which is a completely different skill set, right? So we have something for everybody. Whether you do have a retail flair, or you like being a greeter, or you like staging things so that they sell better, all of those, or you want to help us with social media, or you want to help us with office duties, all of that can happen too. It doesn't have to be your traditional home build site, but we do work very hard on those sites to pair. We look at them as sort of affinity groups. So who would Cindy want to be on a build site with? Who would Joe want to be on a build site with? Who would Lee want to be on a build site? So that you have something in common and you can further your own goals as part of it as well. And as you said it, you're building community right now, right there. In fact, it's exactly what a beloved community is. It's one that works well together for the benefit of the community at large.
Absolutely. And you talk about building a team and camaraderie and developing that. And it's the other thing I wanted to make sure we talk about is can you mention some of your partnerships and your fundraising that you're doing for Habitat for Humanity?
We are so fortunate to just have this legion of supporters, whether it's our municipality partners or our congressional leaders or our MISHDA in the state of Michigan, let alone the foundations and our corporate partners, our Vibe community. I mean, Vibe credit union could not be a better partner, or Nissan or Cindy, you just got me in the danger zone of starting to mention proper nouns, but we get Cummins, we just have wonderful support from our corporate community. We also have tremendous individual donors. We have our Cars for Home project too, where you can donate that old dilapidated car, and often it's a better option for you anyway, even overselling it. So there's things like that. We have our Warren Walton Legacy Society for those who want to commit to the long term. We take stock donations. We work with donor advised funds. We'll take property donations. Any asset that has value, and we look for those win-wins. We work really hard to be a solution for those who support us, and not just we say we don't want a shakedown. We want a partnership. Something that's truly not transactional and truly meaningful for all parties.
Right. And now I wanted to mention that because you said you can donate cars. People can donate, of course, financially, and you mentioned property. Is there also things like people can put it in a will, like a planned legacy giving as well, or matching gifts, things like that?
Yes, we work with Free Will, and they help to make that happen very easily, a few keystrokes. And that's really the long game, right? If you truly want to ensure the long-term sustainability of the mission, that's how to do it.
Now, does Habitat also offer actual employment opportunities maybe for some individuals as well who might think of that as more of a full-time job that they might want to do if they're choose?
Yes, we are building this rock star team, right? If you want to have fun and have purpose and work hard in a way that you go home and just feel fantastic about what you did that day, you need to join the Habitat team. There is one like no other. And we do have some meaningful openings at the moment. We're looking for a restore director. Ours retired recently. So that's a really important position where you can have impact. We're also looking for a couple of people in our philanthropy department. So grant writing and working with other donors, and that is what those are a couple of key spots that we're looking to fill at the moment, as well as some others that folks might find interesting. And all those details are on our website too.
Michele, you have so much passion, which is amazing. And that's why I know anybody who knows and works and has been participating in there. Is there some things about Habitat for Humanity that people might not realize is happening or going on?
Well, I told you that we don't just give houses away, which I think that's important for people to know. I think for everybody, right? That's the aspirational route, and that's what we want. So I often find myself having to explain that, but it's a good conversation to be able to have. And then Jimmy Carter was not our founder. He was just a significant influencer who really helped to elevate Habitat. And that does not diminish his impact at all. He and Rosalind were absolutely incredible. And then the fact that we are celebrating our 50th year, and it's through the Open the Door campaign. And if people really want to hone up on their Habitat knowledge, they should look into Koinonia Farm in Georgia, and it's spelled Koinonia. So go do that homework and then call me, community. We'll grab coffee and we'll do a test, and we'll talk about how you too can have an impact. In fact, people often say that Jimmy Carter had the most prolific post-presidential career. And I think that would be hard to dispute. And who wouldn't want to be part of an opportunity to have that kind of impact?
Oh, absolutely. And it helps, and there's many individuals out there, it just helps shine the light, which anytime we can shine the light on such an amazing, organization and all the people, because it takes everyone to put these homes together, and it's people's time, sweat, and everything to try to do that. So, and Michele, as we get kind of to the close here, is there any last words of wisdom you'd like to provide to our audience about Habitat?
Wisdom from me? That's not a very wise ask on your part, Cindy. I would have to say that we just released our annual report for 2025, and it's titled Because of You. That's how we're able to accomplish what we accomplish. And in 2026, our goal is to serve 2,226 families. So please join us. Help the Zadas of the world not only have a home, but have furniture in it. Somebody who's so passionate and committed to her children and wanting better things. Or do the power of home. Or help make sure we have more Barbaras who have the heart in her hand from 20 years ago in celebration of the mortgage that she just paid off and the 3 children that are now college educated.
And thank you, Michele, so much for sharing that story and all the amazing work that Habitat for Humanity is doing. Thank you also for what you're doing as a CEO and executive director, and all your passion, having someone there like yourself. And I know everyone there is like yourself. Everybody's passionate, wants to do the best and help people out. So thank you for that. And thank you for your time here on Bottom Line.
Well, thank you too for being our partner, Cindy. We can't do the work if we don't shine a light on it. So thank you.
Exactly. And I'd like to thank our audience for watching. Again, this is a wonderful organization, and it sounds like they have a place for anyone to try to help. So thanks again for watching. I'm Cindy Kainz.